Anybody who's saved is saved or healed through the accomplishments of Jesus Christ. And that was through the promise, the one that was promised. And Jesus is the one that was promised. And what did Jesus promise to accomplish? Well, put it to you this way. Simon, for those who don't Simon, our leader of our ministry and managerial person down in Australia, flew in from Australia for the conference in California last week. It was so great to have some time with Simon. And he asked this question. It may not be the exact words, but this is the tenet or the idea of the question he asked to the panel, all the people that spoke. He said, if a person who doesn't believe in Jesus were to come up to you on a plane or on the street and say to you, hey, tell me in one or two sentences, what does Jesus' death do for me? What would you tell them?
He provides an example.
So dying is an example. So he provides an example. How is his example different than Gandhi's example or any of the martyrs? Stephen, who was stoned. Don't lay this to their account. Stephen's death provides an example. What would you say? What does his death do for me? Yes?
It reveals the character of God, reveals the character of Jesus, and reveals the character of Satan.
And why is that important for me?
I mean, if there is if there's an understanding, I mean, it clarifies the characters of them. So if it's called in question by anybody, the cross helps clarify.
So the cross proves that God will kill the innocent instead of the guilty, so the guilty can go free. This is a person who doesn't know God, just hears things in the traditional, world about Christianity, and so it reveals God's character and reveals that He kills innocent people, the innocent, so the guilty can get off.
I mean, if you try to explain it all in a sentence, it's very difficult.
Yes, it is. That's why I'm putting it to you. I'm not picking on you. I think that was okay. Okay, you had a hand up.
It shows us that God is totally unselfish, and Satan, his enemy, has accused him of being arbitrary, selfish, vindictive, that he lies for his own good. But God demonstrated his love and that he would allow himself to be killed.
These are all excellent things. I think there's nothing wrong here at all. I think you're all doing great, but yes.
He destroyed the claims of Satan that he was the prince of this world.
He disputed the claims of Satan, is that what you said? It disproved them. Okay, yes, yeah.
That was pretty much what I was going to say. To everybody looking, to all the other worlds looking.
But the question is, to the non-believer, the question that was asked is, what did Christ's death do for me?
His love for me changed me.
How does it help me?
It shows me the freedom of choice that I have.
Okay.
It gives you an alternate outcome.
Oh, I like where you're going with that one. Alternate outcome from what? I like where you're going with that one. It's very hard to put this in a couple sentences, isn't it? Because it's so much. He did so much, accomplished so much. Okay, absolutely. How about this for an answer? And again, it's an incomplete answer. I don't think there are any complete answers in a sentence. But Jesus came so that we might be freed from fear and selfishness and live in love, being at peace with God and each other.
Well, like you said, the same question could be back. How? How is that by seeing a...
The question wasn't how did he do it. The question was, what did it do? What did Jesus' death do for me? It provided the means where you can be freed from fear and selfishness and live in love with peace with God and others. That's what it did.
Answer how.
Okay, the how is a different question, and that's what some of my lectures did there. I actually did several lectures there. One of the lectures I did, what did the death of Christ actually accomplish? And I went in step by step what he achieved and why from Scripture. And ultimately what he achieved is, if you want to use this word, he destroyed the infection of fear and selfishness that infects all of our hearts. He was tempted in every way just like we are, yet without sin, it says in Scripture. We are tempted, we're dragged away and enticed by our own evil desires. In Gethsemane, Christ's humanity experienced this agonizing human emotion to do what? What's it tempted to do? Father, if it be possible, save yourself. He was tempted with this human longing to save self. But every time the temptation came, because temptation is not sin, every time the temptation came, not my will, thy will be done. And no one can take my life, I give it freely. And so where selfishness was abounding, God's perfect love was abounding all the more, and he eradicates it at the cross. This is why he had to die. The only way to destroy that drive was to take it all the way to its end and love perfectly to the end. It's also my belief as to why he could predict so accurately he would rise again, because he understands God's law of life and how God built reality to run, and that the law of love is the law of life for the universe. And yet he could not see through the portals of the tomb. He could not see through the portals of the tomb, as some authors write, meaning he did not have a crystal ball. He did not go outside of time and look down the corridor of time in a time machine and see the future. He didn't do that. What he was able to do is he was able to understand God's law and what was wrong with the human condition, and he knew that when he eradicated what was wrong and fixed the human condition, that is restoring us back to life. And so it would be like saying, how many can predict what's going to happen when I let go of this? Can you predict it? Do you have the gift of prophecy? Do you have a crystal ball? Can you see the future? No, you know the law of gravity. When you know the law of gravity, you know if you do certain actions, the outcome will be predictable. And I think Christ could say, I'm going to be taken, evil men are going to, and I'm going to die, and I'm going to rise on the third day, because it's the inevitable outcome of eliminating the cause of death. That's why it says in 2 Timothy 1, 9 and 10, that by his death he destroyed death and brought life and immortality to light. And he knew he was going to achieve that.